Welcome to the Mills Knows Bills podcast. My name is Mills Bender. I'm the founder and CEO of Mills Knows Bills, where we help you, variable income earners, master your money in 90 days. The point of this podcast is to help you make the most of your fluctuating income so you can stop living paycheck to paycheck, pay off your debt twice as fast, and get on track toward reaching both your personal and professional financial goals. Now, as I continue to grow my team here at MKB, you may have some guest hosts from time to time. However, our goal does not change. Whether we're bringing in a guest speaker, having an in-depth conversation about our personal finances, or talking about a topic that is of interest to you, our goal is to help you master your money. Welcome back to another episode of the Mills Knows Bills podcast. I'm your host, as well as founder and CEO of MKB, Mills Bender. On this podcast, we answer your burning financial questions, specifically for those business owners of you out there, so that way you can take this information and propel your business forward. With me today, I actually have the owner of the podcast studio I'm in, Josh Pies. Please take a moment, introduce yourself, and then we'll do our ASMR after.
Are you sure it's after? Because I was ready for capitalist ASMR now. Welcome to Capitalist ASMR, where we listen to money.
I can't get this straight.
You haven't been an actor as long as I have, apparently. Okay.
No.
So do you actually want me to introduce myself?
Absolutely, okay. I do.
Hi,
yes.
I'm Josh Pies. I am the chief attention getter and hippie capitalist at C47 Digital Studios. We are a video podcast production company and proud host of your show here in our studio. And I actually do my show, Bootstrapped Unicorns, in here as well. And that's all anybody really needs to know. What do you want to talk about?
Well, what's your burning financial question?
Well, I actually have two burning financial questions, and the first one could lead to the second one. The second one could lead to the first one. So I'm going to give you the whole thing, and you can just go. So, I'm looking forward to actually hiring you for our business. And so that tipping point. So the question is, like, at what point do I know that I need to actually hire a fractional CFO? And one of the things I was thinking about as I was thinking about that question is I've got a friend. Mm-hmm. Real name is David. We'll leave his last name out of it. He is a huge believer in having LLCs for everything, S corps for this. And the man has like 25 legal entities. And I was thinking, in preparation for working with you, if I were to take his advice, you would have to deal with, 50 different legal entities for every idea I've ever thought. And that sounds a little cumbersome and overwhelming, and it does affect how books look. And so that seems too much. Do you ever run into that? Is that a problem? How do I prepare myself and my business to be the right client for you?
So yes, I have dealt with clients that have multiple LLCs before.
Are those separate contracts?
I do treat them as separate contracts.
Interesting.
Because they're completely different businesses. Which one do you want me to be the fractional CFO for?
All right. So that's the right answer right there. That's clarity. So if I've got 25 LLCs, I have 25 contracts with you.
Correct.
That just got expensive.
It did. You're welcome.
Okay.
But also, I find that clients tend to separate out and have multiple LLCs when they truly treat it like its own business.
I think David's running from the law, but anyhow, keep going.
But the idea here is, for example, I'm wanting to start a software as a service, and I'm bringing my husband over early next year to start building out that software.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm going to have a different LLC for that because I want the option of just selling off that portion in the future versus just selling off the service of being fractional CFOs as a different business.
Sure.
So this business will pay for this business's services. Mills Knows Bills is going to pay for the software cost. Right. But I want to treat them as two separate entities. I'm not going to have 12 different LLCs, one for my book, one for this, one for the, to me, it's just too much.
That's an interesting point, though. And I realize you're not an attorney and you're not giving legal advice. However, at the same time, from a practicality standpoint, you just said not for my book. That's an interesting point. So when you write your book, and of course, I'm in the middle of writing mine, you wouldn't necessarily, for yourself at least, and this is just your way of handling it. I'm trying to protect her legally. I'm no lawyer either.
We're not lawyers here. We just you know.
We don't even play one on TV.
No.
But so you wouldn't do a separate LLC for the book because it's kind of part and parcel of the services. It's kind of the most expensive business card you've ever owned.
I am my brand right now.
Right.
And I'm moving beyond my brand. The book I already have out there, it's underneath Mills Knows Bills, but I put it underneath my name, my real name.
Right.
Too. So the copyright is under my name, not the company.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't have a separate LLC for it because it is a lead gen opportunity. It is a business card. It is something that builds my brand as Mills Knows Bills. And
it could be a negotiation point if you ever sold the business where you just say, I want to keep that anyhow. So from an ownership perspective, that almost doesn't matter. I mean, my worry really is that, and I think a lot of businesses, but as I know definitely in my business, there's a lot of different creative verticals that could have been treated as separate businesses. And there are some people out there who they're an author. That's their business. They speak and they're an author and that's it. And then, they've got a podcast and maybe that promotes the book. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's a separate thing. And I feel like there's some awkward business advice out there telling people that every single idea has got to be separated. And I just don't know how, for me, it doesn't feel practical. It feels very cumbersome.
How do you manage it?
This is what I was wondering. And I didn't know if you as a CFO would say, that's no big deal. All of them are you. That's one thing that I'll manage.
I would 100% charge differently, especially if they are completely different companies. Okay. So what most people do will hire me for their main company first.
Yeah.
Especially as their other ones start getting ramped up. They speak to each other.
Sure.
But I'm not looking at any of those financials. Okay. Right. Now, what I would ask you is it your goal to sell your company one day?
Oh, yeah.
So then I would talk with a business broker.
Yeah.
And ask their opinion because they're going to know whether or not something should be treated as a separate business to either increase your multiple or if it's going to hurt you from separating it.
That's great advice, right? So loop a broker in now, pre-planning for how they would strategize for a future. Yeah,
that's exactly what I would do.
Do you know one?
Just just one upstairs.
Yeah. He literally is upstairs right now. Okay, that's cool. Actually, that does help me understand a little bit because we actually have an attorney watching right now, and we don't normally, by the way, in studio. Don't be scared. We don't really have legal watching us all the time. He just happens to be here because he's hanging out and he's a wine expert, so he brought me a gift.
Are you really?
Legit? No, he's like certifiable. Not
you a sommelier?
In training.
Yeah.
I know some things.
That's an SIT, sommelier in training. It's spelled with an S, right?
That's right.
Sit.
You're a sit. Yep. All right. Yeah. So anyhow, this is going off the rails, Mills.
All right,
but back on track. No, that's really interesting because I was almost on the edge. I've got one LLC and I'm very happy with it. I was almost on the edge of putting the book into an LLC just out of that fantasy that it needed to be its own vertical and kind of live its own life. But in the same way that you're doing your book, mine is really built for lead gen for this business. And I don't think I have a problem with that.
And that's fine. Cool. I would not overcomplicate it personally.
It is so.
It is so. Done. It is written.
It is written. Yeah. Thus it shall be. I thused.
Do you have any other follow-up questions?
I really don't have a follow-up question other than, are you having fun in your business? Because you seem like you are.
I am.
All right. What's fun about that? Because I hate CFO work. I would not want to do what you do.
I have always loved math. I've always loved numbers. I didn't think that finance was going to be a career for me until I went to college and realized that finance was the marriage between money and math. And I thought, what a really cool pairing. Let's study it.
Yeah.
Didn't expect a career in it. And so it just kind of found me. So it came really out of a place of passion.
Do you ever find yourself doing a math problem that's unrelated to money and you can't solve it in your head? And then if you put dollar signs on it, you can solve it?
Oh, no.
Okay, because I actually, that is the math I'm most comfortable with is financial math.
Nice.
And so every once in a while, like my kids will bring like a geometry thing to me. And I'm like, well, if there's dollar signs in front of it, I can figure it out. And legit in my head, I'm looking at like geometry class stuff and it's all money to me, which sounds terribly like evil capitalist side of things. I swear I'm a hippie capitalist.
I will say I am I'm very much a nerd. Very few people know much about like
what math classes I've taken and stuff. So it's enjoyable for me because I like math and I like money and numbers and helping other people understand it. I know that there are some people who don't like math and whatnot. And being able to take that burden off of them is really where I get a lot of the joy, because
that's cool.
There's,
that's people-centric.
It is people-centric. And for you solve a problem that a lot of entrepreneurs don't automatically understand either, which is marketing and relationship-based connections and all of that through podcasting, right? You're killing a lot of birds with one stone.
Yeah.
But for you get joy out of it because it's natural for you. It's easy for you. But I guarantee most of your people don't.
Oh, yeah. It's actually really funny. I was talking to somebody today who was like, we get to practice at this, right? Before we're going to film our first one, because this is really scary. And it's like the term scary and podcast shouldn't go together, but it's really true that it's not their zone of power. This guy's in the construction trades, really high-end construction trades. He knows it'll benefit his business, but he never pictured that he would ever be in front of a microphone or a camera. And so, we're all selling a solution that we would hope is in our set of giftings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Any other questions?
No, other than, would you like to try some of this? Because it's pretty darn good.
I absolutely would.
Yeah.
Before we crack open more wine, tell everybody more about what you do and how they can find you and start a podcast.
All right. Well, again, if you ever want to listen to my podcast or maybe even come on if you're an entrepreneur, Bootstrapped Unicorns Entrepreneurship podcast is my show. And it's an exploration of all things entrepreneurship. But I have two requirements if you're going to be on the show. One, you've got to tell me some inspirational aspect of what you represent to the world of entrepreneurship. But two, we need something actionable, tactical that our audience can walk away with in the same way you do your show, Mills, where we're learning something that we could actually apply in our businesses. I require that as well, but it's not necessarily finance. It could be hiring decisions. It could be making a decision to do X, Y, Z, whatever it is. We just need to learn something that we can apply. And that's what we're looking for in our show, because it's a little bit of an educational moment. We need to get better at doing this thing called entrepreneurship. And that's actually my heart for why we even have our business, which is C47 Digital Studios. C47films.com is our URL. If you wanted to have a show to invite people on as guests and give them a place of honor, but they also happen to be people who will be your ideal referral partner or your ideal client, or maybe your high-tier vendor partner who is a natural referral partner, that's how you end up doing business development of a higher order. When's the last time you forgot the business dinner you went to, or the golf outing, or the last coffee? They're not very memorable. This is mass quantities of touch points that are highly memorable, and they're valuable for all parties. And that's where the magic is for our business. We're actually not selling podcasts or video. We're selling business development opportunities that have this awesome side effect of checking the boxes of YouTube and iTunes and Spotify and Instagram and all the other stuff. So my passion is making entrepreneurs aware that there's this new way of bringing in relationships. And I hate social media, which is actually really funny. It's a time suck. There's political infighting all the time, especially we're recording during the political season where everybody's grumpy. And I don't enjoy all of that. I mean, I have social media because of family connections and stuff, and there's business value. And some gurus told you that you should do more video and should do more social media. And in some ways I agree. But if you make that your focus, that's actually an information zone. That's not the influence zone. I can get you doing work in the influence zone that happens to give you the gift of extra stuff to put in the information zone. But you need to live in the influence zone. And that's what we do here. That's what you do actually in all of these relationships, having me on your show and other guests on your show, and also the way you just treat people. You're in that one-to-one influence zone just habitually. And that's what makes a good business owner. And so for you, who wants to be a good business owner, we can get you into that influence zone and let you live there. And we'll take care of all that stuff that you feel like FOMO information zone stuff needs to be done. Sure, it does. We'll help you with that.
Love that.
Yeah. So that's what we do. And thank you for the commercial time.
Yes. Thank you. And one more time, how can somebody reach out to you?
C47films.com is the easiest way to reach out and ask for help to do what we do. If you want to listen to the show, though, bootstrappedunicorns.com. It's got all the information.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh, for taking time out of your afternoon.
And let's end with capitalist ASMR.
This will be my new intro and outro. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time.